So we're gonna do our active week. We're gonna do some joyful movements. And I thought I would start with a reading from Jon Kabat-Zinn. I don't know, it's an old New Yorker cartoon that he references. Two Zen monks in robes and shaved heads, one young and one old, sitting side by side, cross-legged on the floor. The younger one is looking somewhat quizzically at the older one, who's turned towards him and saying, "Nothing happens next. This is it." So there's your expectation for a meditation class. Nothing happens next. This is it. Or there's another one, a cartoon of one monk turning to another, and he says, "Are you not thinking what I'm not thinking?" So let's start standing tall, and if those jokes were not funny for you, smile for no reason. For absolutely no reason. Eyes open or closed, that's up to you. But we'll bring some joy into our faces. We can put on a big smile. We can lift our chests in a tall, positive posture. And let's bring to mind something that brings us joy, something that makes us happy, whatever that may be. Some kind of positive force in your life. Bring to mind a time or a place when you felt joyful. And our affirmation for today is, I am open to joy. I can make room for joy. I can move in a joyful way. So I encourage each of us to modify any of our movements, yogi's choice. Make it fun, make it joyful for you. And let's begin, eyes open or closed. We'll inhale, sweep arms overhead, and exhale, hands through heart center. We may like to repeat an affirmation like, I am open to joy as we go. Or once more, bring a smile to our faces for absolutely no reason. Noticing the range of motion in our shoulders, knowing that we can take it easy today or really push, whichever we choose. Let's do one more here. And from the top of our mats, we're gonna step back wide for sun and moon flowers. So let's inhale up and out into a 5-pointed star. And as we exhale, let's bend elbows and knees together. And we're both pulling our knees back and pulling our elbows back so that we're not collapsing forward. All right, that's our pattern. Joyfully inhaling up and joyfully exhaling down. And maybe we're particularly grumpy today. Maybe joy does not work for you. Let's see if we can maybe move the needle 1% closer to joy. Which is why our affirmation is, I am open to joy. We don't have to feel joyful, but we can be open to it. Matching breath to movement, going at whatever speed feels good for you. All right, let's meet at the bottom range of motion. We'll do one more. And to turn it into sunflowers, we can take our hands to our thighs and we're hinging forward from our hips. So rather than a straight up and down movement, we add this hip hinge forward to train our core and back strength. Let's inhale, we sweep up. And exhale, we sweep down, sort of scooping towards the floor. I like to think of this as a pretty advanced pose because Most of us do not lift with our legs, we lift with our backs. So let's do our best. If you have a mirror nearby, it helps, but let's see if our backs can be straight as we go. A great way to test is at that bottom range of motion, take a breath, and if you really feel your back stretching, that's a sign you're probably lifting with your back, rounding your back. So let's extend the chest forward as we inhale. We should be able to feel our rib cage in the front and the sides expand as well. So a little test, inhale at the bottom to see. We're not collapsing the chest, we're expanding the chest. Or you could look in a mirror, make sure your knees are bent, tailbones untucked, and back is straight. Okay, one more time, we'll meet at the bottom. And if it feels good, we can really drop low. You can straighten one leg at a time. We can have our hands on our thighs. Again, a little freedom of movement, maybe some joyful movement. We'll come back to standing. We might want to sneak the feet a little closer, and we're going to drop our shoulders and heels. So if our feet are wider, it's a lot more inner thigh strength to bring the heels up. If they're closer, it's a lot easier. So let's add that bounce, that joyful bounce. The arms might start to swing, or maybe we're just feeling heavy. We want our energy and our weight to drop towards the floor. I always find this one is good though if my neck is feeling tight, to get some movement going. All right, let's do another 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. We can give our legs a shake. And let's step to the top of the mat. You might feel a little tight in your calves. We'll do some work to stretch them out. So let's start with our hands on our hips. We're gonna alternate a step back into a short warrior one. So this is our flight of the bird. We've done it before. Right, left, left, right, doesn't matter. Pressing into our front heel. And pressing into the outer edge of the back foot. So we have strength in the front leg and stretch in the back foot, ankle, calf area. So, we can go easy on it. We can move fluidly. If we have enough energy, let's see if we can move joyfully. So as we step back, we can inhale up. Once more, maybe we're smiling for no reason. And then we step forward, we can bring hands to heart. Again, if you're really not feeling joyful, but you still want to move, that's okay. We can remember a time that we were joyful. We can tell ourselves, when I'm ready, I'll be joyful. Or it's safe to be happy. Maybe you want to pick a different word instead of joy. Maybe today you're just content. The next time we have the right foot back, let's leave it there. We're in a long warrior one stance, and we're gonna flow from here. So our legs don't move, but remember what I said before about coming forward with a flat back. So we should feel that our legs are engaged, our core is engaged. It is not a back stretch. So if you feel your back stretching, let's make it more like a cow pose or more like a cobra pose. Stay up tall so that the muscles of your back are working. That's what we mean by lifting with our legs, not our back. Our back, strong, not stretched. We're gonna inhale up, and then as we exhale, let's fly the arms in behind. So we're squeezing the back of the shoulders. Let's go for 3 more here. You might like to do quite a deep range of motion. You might like to go quite small. I will leave that up to you. All right, then next time we reach our arms in behind, let's leave them there for a chest expansion. We can interlace if we like, lifting hearts. Let's step towards the top of the mat, and we're ready for the other side. Here we go. Let's test as we come forward. Make sure when we breathe in, we still feel our expansion of our ribs, front and side, that we're not collapsing forward. We want to feel strength in the back, not stretch. We inhale up, and let's squeeze the back of the shoulders as we fly our wings back and hinge forward. Excellent. All right, we got 3 more. All right, we'll stand tall. Let's fly our wings in behind us. Again, we can interlace. Keep the heart high. And even if we don't feel super positive, we still have a very positive posture that we're executing. All right, we're stepping to the top of the mat. I hope we are feeling warm. We're gonna do one more really heat building movement. And actually, I think I wore the wrong shoes for this today. So, we're gonna pivot our feet. So if you are by chance wearing like running shoes on a carpet, just be careful, you have to pick your foot up a little bit more. If you're wearing socks on a tile floor, your foot will slide really nicely. So we'll come into not a giant pose like a ballerina, more of a Tai Chi stance, a little bit closer. We're gonna make a flat hand. So we're stretching through both wrists, we pull back. We're gonna inhale as we pull back, and then exhale to shoot forward. Inhale as we pull back, exhale to shoot forward. We might like to picture, so I got this movement from someone who refers to it as like throwing a fireball out of your palms. You might like to picture that, or like a lightning bolt. Maybe you like some of our other elements like water, ice, air, I don't know. Channel your inner X-Man or X-Woman. And to balance out this yang, strong energy, let's make it more yin. We inhale, and then gently, like we're bowling, throw it away. So we can welcome both strength and softness in. Let's go once more each side. All right, we'll come back through center. We'll step to the top. And let's go ahead and take it down towards the mat. So we can inhale our arms up. Deep bend in our knees, so we are still lifting from our legs. Strong back into forward fold. And let's make our way back into child. So we've done a lot of vigorous movement. Let's take a moment here to just check in, see how you're feeling. Noticing any thoughts or emotions, sensations in the body, maybe feeling quite warm. We'll have a little bit of a pause here. So let's go ahead and come on up into all fours. We can spread our fingers wide, or you may prefer a fist. I'll go through cat and cow. Let's do a rippling movement for today. We don't usually do it like this. So we can start from our tailbone, tucking the tailbone under, lengthening the low back, lengthening mid back, upper back, and then tucking the chin. And then we'll reverse that movement, untucking the tailbone, lengthening the hamstrings and glutes, shortening our back muscles, lengthening our abdominal muscles. We will reach the heart forward. And finally, we lift the crown of the head. Let's keep going with that rippling pattern. We'll pause for a moment in cow. Whenever you get there, reaching the chest, stretching the belly. Really important to stretch our abs, especially if we've been sitting all day, if you've been on Zoom meetings or just sitting for any reason, driving, hanging around the house. So let's take a breath into the front of the body, feeling expansion of the chest and belly. And then we can pull our abdominal muscles in on our next exhale. All right, well, let's rest back in child's or maybe downward facing dog. If we're in child's, we can walk our hands side to side or shake our hips off. If we're in down dog, we can pedal our heels, shake our hips off, maybe give the head a shake. And we'll make our way into a warrior series. So if we're in down dog, we can lift the right leg to create some space. Take knee to nose, plant our right foot between our hands, and we're ready for warrior one. Working on this theme, using strong back muscles to come up, pushing through our legs. We can inhale up into warrior one. And then let's open into warrior two. We might like to take more space between our front and back foot. Might like to adjust, lifting our heels or toes, or shifting until we feel, okay, I can settle in here. Sometimes it's interesting to note, our front and back hands should be about the same height. And we'll make our way into side angle. So our bent leg, same hand comes down, or maybe forearm. Lots of length to the top side of the waist and ribs. And as we reverse our warrior, let's lift the opposite hand. We'll sneak a peek at our front knee. It should ideally still be over top of our ankle. So our brain controls our knee. It doesn't have a mind of its own. Let's look up towards our top hand. And then often it's really helpful with the alignment to actually look down towards the back hand. We'll straighten the front leg for reverse triangle. Big stretch up and away. And then let's take our hands down towards the mat. And we'll make our way back into down dog or child's, yogi's choice. And you may like to go through a push-up flow here. So we haven't done a lot of work warming this up. In fact, we haven't really done any, but it is conventional to come forward into a kneeling push-up and lift up into cobra. So we really just did our cat and cow to warm up for it, but if we're feeling good, that is a-okay. We're gonna make our way through that warrior series on the other side. So we can lift our left leg to create space, press down so we have enough room to bring it through, or it might take a couple steps, we might have to take it wide. And we're ready for warrior one. You can stay where you are. I'm going to turn just so I can face you. So our left foot's in front, and we can open to warrior two, giving it any of those little adjustments that you like. We can check front and back hand are even. You're not going to hurt yourself if they're uneven. It's more of a mind-body thing. And we'll come into side angle, stretching long. front arm to front thigh, length through the top ribs and waist. But we're not totally collapsed here. We still have a little bit of some side plank kind of feeling going on. Okay, again, you're not gonna hurt yourself. It's more of a mind-body thing. As we reverse our warrior, our knees should stay over top of our ankle. We can look upward for an optimistic pose to be in. And then often it helps us with our alignment to look towards the backhand. And that takes some of the twisting movement out of it, puts us more in just a side bend, which is supposed to be healthier for the spine. We only do one movement of the spine at a time. In this case, it's a side bend. We'll straighten our front leg, big long reverse triangle. A little differently this time, let's take it to a wide-legged forward fold. So we'll turn our left toes forward, we can bend our knees. Maybe we're making it halfway down, maybe we're making it all the way down, but again, yogi's choice. How can we move in a way that gives you some kind of positive emotion? Maybe we sway, maybe we shake the head off. Losing my shoes, my feet are sweating. And often the cue here is to press the feet away from one another or pull the feet together for a different activation. My feet were just sliding around in my shoes. We also have the option to walk our hands into a wide-legged downward dog. A great way to get that downward dog shape through the shoulders and upper body without having too much weight on our wrists. We're gonna make our way back to the original top of our mat. So I'm gonna come back to meet you. Come back so you can see me. We're stepping our feet to the back of the mat, down dog or child's. And then it's up to you. You might like to flow through again a push-up or a kneeling push-up and a cobra. To all fours. We'll do something to keep our brains young and fresh. So from all fours, we're either spreading our fingers and pressing down into our fingertips, or you may prefer a fist. But let's start with our upper body. So we'll go ahead and take the right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. And here's the trick. We could just be sort of flopping around, swaying side to side, but it's much harder if you keep your spine exactly where it is and tap across. So you'll feel your abs kick in and your back muscles kick in, hopefully. If you keep your center of gravity the same, if you keep your spine center, heart center, navel center, however you want to think of it, don't let your nose leave the spot that it's over top on your mat. So we have, in other words, core stability here. We can add on opposite leg lifts in the back. So right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. And let's keep the muscles of our hands and feet active as we go. So we do a small movement to keep it controlled. And let's see if we can do a large movement to keep life interesting. So we'll go ahead and start from all fours. Let's reach right hand forward and left foot back. This is our starting spot. Remember, we don't want to be wobbling around too much, but we do want to challenge our balance. We can lift up. And let's see if we can reach in behind and sort of make it towards our foot or something back in there. And then let's try it on the other side. Here we go. Left hand, right foot. We can lift and catch our balance. We can reach in behind, see if you can touch something back there. Let's go once more, each way. Switching when you're ready. To give ourselves a breather and a brain break, we can rest back in child's or downward facing dog. Noticing how you're feeling at this point, any emotions that come up, thoughts or ideas. And let's go ahead and either from down dog or child's, we'll come into a kneeling lunge. So I find it easier from down dog, you might find it easier from child's. Let's take our right foot between our hands for a kneeling lunge. We'll be here for a little while. So if kneeling lunge is not your favorite and you'd like to have some extra padding under the knee or anything like that, be my guest. But let's set up so that we're pretty comfortable. I like to take my front foot a little wider, closer to the edge of the mat. And we'll take it through a couple variations. So here we are with our hands down. Let's move on to our next variation, our hands on our thighs. And if you do notice your knee is like way past your toe and your heel is lifted, let's take it much further forward. So the front heel is always down, much healthier for the back of the ankle. Okay, so we'll keep actively pressing down so we're not just like spaghetti here. And let's open into cactus arms. And this is where we began. Are we maybe a little more limber? Maybe more joyful? We can spread our fingers wide. We'll take our right hand down and our left hand up. And let's go ahead and lean to the side. So I'll show you this way. Right foot in front, left hand in the air, and then we open the long side of the ribs. So a great one if you've been sitting again, gets into the front of the hip. Bring it back through, and let's make our way to the other side. So get there whatever makes sense for you. We can go through down dog, we can go through child's. I'll even give us a little extra time if you want to make it through another push-up flow. But then let's all meet with our left foot in front. So we step our left foot between our hands to start, and we'll go through our various variations. Although if any of them are definitely not for you, of course you can skip them. So we can leave the foot where it is, or we'll walk it closer to the edge of the mat. We can bring ourselves up and place our hands on our thigh. Let's make sure we're still actively pressing down so we're not collapsing here. And we can open into cactus. For a variety, rather than spreading our fingers, let's squeeze them together. And you may notice that that has a bit of a domino effect. Your body may feel like it's closing or tensing just as the fingers close or tense. It's not good or bad, just something to notice. Come in to our side bend again. So we can take same hand to leg, right arm up, and we're stretching the right side of the ribs. We can imagine that we're growing in two directions, so we reach up as we press down. Still breathing. we'll take our time coming out of this. Again, if you'd like to rest back in child or down dog, you can. And if you like that option for a push-up flow or chaturanga as you may know it, of course, we can go there. Now we'll make our way to a standing position. Let's start with a standing chest expansion and we'll move into a standing back bend. So take your time coming up to join me, and whenever you get there, we'll reset, feet under hips. We'll give ourselves some positive encouragement, 2 thumbs up. And then let's pull thumbs to the wall behind you. So really our thumbs are just a landmark to set our alignment for our shoulders. We can release that position when we get there. Might feel good to get some movement going in the neck. Squeezing the back of the shoulders. And I would really recommend pretty much everyone should do something like this pretty much every day to open up across the chest. Let's take it overhead, big reach up. And if we choose to look up, make sure we can still swallow. If not, you've gone too far. And then we'll reach our hands in behind. And for this one, let's leave the hands open so the back of the shoulders still has to squeeze. And then we'll start to take it into a back bend. So some of us might like a little bit of a back bend, sort of a Care Bear stare, just lifting the chest. Some of us might like to walk our hands down our thighs for a deeper back bend. Or there may be some other variation that you know of. The only thing I would really avoid, sometimes people really push the pelvis forward. I don't know where that practice comes from. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's common, but please let me know if you know of any good use for it. I think it's more important to open up the rib cage than to just kind of like Ace Ventura thrust the hips forward. If we like, we can interlace our fingers, and we might like to take this into a forward fold. So we're resting belly on our thighs. It's a deep bend in the knees. We're actively punching our hands down our spines, whether they're open or closed. We can give the head a shake. For the last time, let's use strength in our legs and back to come up to standing. And we're ready for dancer's pose. So you may like to hold on to something for this one. And of course, I'll give us different options for dancers. So let's go ahead and pick your good side. Whichever one you think, okay, this is my good side today. From there, we'll bend and straighten the leg. So my standing leg is the side that I feel, okay, I'm getting my best balance here to start with. I'm kind of easing my quads into a stretch in the back leg. I'm squeezing my hamstrings. We can hold up for a quad stretch. You may want to grab the back of your pant leg or something else. You don't have to reach your ankle. There is also a variation where you put your foot on a chair. Someone I know puts her foot on a countertop. It looks very strange, but she looks so happy when she does it. If we want to add our arm in behind, we can do a big sweep like we did in our all fours pose. And we can hold outside of the ankle, inside the ankle. I would suggest against grabbing the top of your foot or your toes so we can flex. We might like to lift. I don't know what other kind of fancy yoga journal variations people know. Go for it. Okay, here's the trick. You decide when to come out of the pose with perfect grace and control. If you fall out, you can always go back in and have a second chance. And when you're ready, let's start this process on the second side. Maybe reminding ourselves of our affirmation. I am open to joy. Maybe we can do this in a joyful way. Picking our second best side, knowing that we've already laid the blueprint in our brain. We know how to do it. Easing our quads into the stretch by squeezing our hamstrings. Maybe we're resting our foot on a chair. Maybe we're reaching up around and back. Actively engaging in the pose. So the same way in our kneeling lunge, we could have just sort of collapsed there. We could just collapse here. Or we can actively press down, reach up, kick into our hand, and our hand resists that movement.
And now, take a very deep breath and quiet your mind.
We'll make sure we're still breathing. When you feel like, okay, it's a natural point to do so, we can come on out. Okay, we'll make our way down to the floor. There we go. Our last chance, if we would like to take it, for a down dog, a child's pose, or maybe some kind of push-up flow. Let's come to a seated position. Let's start with a wide-legged forward fold. So we'll take our feet as wide as is comfortable for you.
If you listen with info, there's a relaxing power of this process.
And before we go anywhere, we can rest our hands or press them down in front or in behind. Let's do some heart-focused breathing. So we're going to lead from the heart in this pose. We can have all of our great posture recommendations. Maybe we need to bend the knees in order to sit tall. We're actively pressing into our feet and our butt bones, growing tall through the crown of the head. And let's imagine that we are breathing into heart center. So we know that we can only literally breathe into our lungs, but we're placing our attention into the space just behind our sternum or breastbone. We may already be easing into this, feeling our legs relax, but let's lead from the heart as we come forward into our wide-legged forward fold. Depending on your body and what kind of activities you've been doing lately, you might not come forward very far at all, but we can still leave our attention at our heart-focused breathing. And if you do come really far forward, let's keep that heart space open so we're not collapsing through. If you really feel the need to kind of round forward, we do have a pose for you coming up. Back up to seated. And as we bring our feet towards one another, we can actually windshield wipe our legs side to side. Might be nice to loosen up the hips. And we'll pause in a seated position. We won't be here for too long. But let's do a single nostril breath. So we've been doing a lot of up kind of energy stuff. And in yoga philosophy, and actually modern Western science as well, much more recently, your right nostril, being your dominant nostril, relates to all the work that we've been doing. Heat, fire, movement, even joy. Let's go ahead and we'll plug the right nostril and breathe just through the left nostril.
And quiet your mind.
And traditionally, this is actually often done with like a surfer dude kind of mudra. Inhaling through the right and exhaling through the left. So we're doing this as a literal breath practice. Inhaling through the left and exhaling through the right. Inhaling left, exhaling right. So we have sort of like a circular motion going on. But when we come to lying down, you can do it as a visualization as well. Let's do one more. Inhaling through the left and exhaling through the right. And we'll make our way down to lie on our mats. So that is our single nostril breath leading left. And I will remind us of it in a moment's time. All right, we did a lot of work not stretching our backs. If you want to stretch your back now, we can go ahead and draw knees to chest and curl into a ball. If that's not the most comfortable thing in the world, we can actually do a single leg to chest as well, so we still get some of that curling movement. Doesn't have to be a big range of motion. And let's finish with a happy baby. And since I mentioned it earlier, if you have your strap, I will show you one way to do it. If we don't have our strap for happy baby, we can draw knees to chest wide. We can leave it here. We can hold onto our ankles, or we can hold our big toes. If you do have your strap, not the most graceful thing, but it can be a really nice angle to just let the arms be heavy and pull the feet down with the strap underneath the balls of the feet. So this one's nice because it gives us still some length across the collarbones, a bit of a chest opener, but we get that happy baby pose as well. And when you're ready to release this, we can scan our bodies from head to toe. And think about what you need here. We haven't really done any twisting today. We did standing, but not a deep twist. So you might like a bit of a twist or a long stretch. Maybe a bridge pose, or again, curling tightly into a ball. And then let's make our way into relaxation. So take your time, finishing up whatever your final movement is. And then as you make your way into relaxation pose, this can be a traditional Shavasana with our feet wider than our mat, palms flipped up, shoulders down and back. We can have our feet bent, our knees bent and our feet planted. Maybe we have our knees knocking in. I think we did this last week. Option to finish with a self-hug for probably a cozy, safe feeling kind of position, although that might feel cramped. And on the other end of the spectrum, We could have a more open position with the knees in butterfly and our arms in cactus or T, or even up overhead or behind the head for a more open position. I think the important part is that you come into a pose where you feel pretty safe so that the body can rest. So if you find yourself in a position where you're just sort of waiting for it to pass or be over, you'll be here for a few minutes. So go into a comfortable position. That might even be lying on your side or sitting up. I will lead us through a relaxation. And let's start by noticing the back of the head on the floor. Might feel good to tuck the chin. Might feel good to turn the head side to side. I often like to picture like an Etch-a-Sketch. We're shaking it clear. And we have the option to repeat our affirmation again. I am open to joy. I make room for joy. Maybe instead of movement, we can say to ourselves, I can be still in a joyful way. We may like to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth a few times. Progressive muscle relaxation, or you may know it as a tense and release. And I like to add counting backwards. It seems to do something to the mind to relax. So in your own mind, say to yourself, I am ready to release, and then count backwards from 10. I am ready to release, and count backwards. Let's start with the head. Again, notice the back of your head touching the surface beneath it, allowing the head to become supported and allow it to rest down to the center of the earth. Becoming aware of the face, all at once start squeezing your eyes, forehead, scrunch up your nose and cheeks. Bring tension to your lips and mouth. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And again, you may like to repeat to yourself, I am ready to release. And then release the muscular tension in your face. Notice that feeling of softening. We can do the same thing, tensing the jaw and neck muscles. All at once, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release, letting softness in to the jaw, throat, neck, maybe even noticing the tongue relax. Bringing awareness to your arms. From your hand up to the shoulder, tighten your hand into a fist and move the tension up your arm to your shoulder and underarm. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Let's open up and spread the fingers wide. And then maybe on an exhale, release the squeeze, noticing the feeling of the difference between tension and softness. Let's do the legs. Bringing awareness to the legs from foot to hip. Tense the muscles, maybe pointing the foot, something we don't often do in yoga. Squeeze the calves, thighs, buttocks. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then feel the contrast as you let softness enter the same space. Letting go into the heaviness and comfort of relaxation. Bringing awareness to the trunk of the body. We can draw the navel inward, lift up through the pelvic floor, squeeze the back, chest, and other core muscles. And let's release, but we'll continue the softness with a belly breath. Every time we breathe in, allowing the muscles of the belly, our abdominals, to relax. And as we breathe out, we can let go of even more tension. You may even notice a muscular activity in your body as though you're holding yourself up. See now if you can feel your body rest deeply, giving into gravity with each exhale. Feeling more content and comforted by the relaxation. Simply experiencing the deep heaviness of relaxation. We can stay as we are, but place hands over heart. Doing a couple more heart-focused breaths here, bringing that awareness back to heart center. Drawing a little bit of energy into the body. Knowing that you can stay here exactly as you are as long as you like. But our time together is up. And thank you so much for joining me. From my light to yours, namaste.